This is Chapter 2, beginning on page 47. Our sections for this chapter include our introduction, body systems, body cavities, divisions of the back, planes of the body, terminology, in-person CT and MRI, exercises and answers, pronunciation of terms, practical applications, picture show, review, and terminology checkup. Our chapter objectives: to name the body systems and their functions, to identify body cavities and specific organs within them, to list the divisions of the back, to identify the three planes of the body, to analyze, pronounce, and spell new terms, and to apply medical terms in real-life situations. All the parts of your body are composed of individual units called cells. Examples are muscle, nerve, epithelial, skin and lining of internal organs and cavities, and then bone cells. Similar cells grouped together are tissues. Groups of muscle cells are muscle tissues, and groups of epithelial cells are epithelial tissue. Collections of different tissues working together are organs. An organ, such as the stomach, has specialized tissues, such as muscle, epithelial, and nerve, that help the organ function. Groups of organs working together are the systems of the body. The digestive system, for example, includes the mouth, throat, also known as the pharynx, esophagus, stomach, and intestines, which bring food into the body, break it down, and deliver it to the bloodstream. At the bottom of page 48 in figure 2.1, this shows the difference between cells, tissues, organs, and systems. So similar cells, a group of similar cells make up tissues, groups of different tissues make up organs, and then groups of different organs make up systems. There are 11 systems of the body, and each plays an important role in the way the body works. The circulatory system, heart, blood, and blood vessels, such as arteries, veins, and capillaries, transport blood containing all types of blood cells throughout the body. The lymphatic system includes lymph vessels and nodes that carry a clear liquid called lymph. Lymph contains white blood cells called lymphocytes that fight against disease and play an important role in immunity. The digestive system brings food into the body and breaks it down so that it can enter the intestines. The liver and pancreas are also part of the digestive system. Food that cannot be broken down is then removed from the body at the end of the system as waste. Organs in the digestive system include the mouth, stomach, and intestines. The endocrine system, composed of glands, sends chemical messengers called hormones into the blood to act on other glands and organs. Examples of endocrine glands are the thyroid gland, adrenal glands, and pituitary gland. The female and male reproductive systems produce the cells, eggs, and sperm that join to form the embryo, which develops in the uterus of a female. Male testes and female ovaries, sex organs, produce hormones as well. The musculoskeletal system, including muscles, bones, joints, and other connective tissues such as cartilage, supports the body and allows it to move. The nervous system carries electrical messages to and from the brain and spinal cord. The respiratory system controls breathing, a process by which air enters and leaves the body. Organs of the respiratory system include the trachea, which is the windpipe, bronchial tubes, and lungs. The skin and sense organ system, including the skin and eyes and ears, receives messages from the environment and sends them to the brain. The retina is a layer of sensitive receptor tissue in the back of the eye. The urinary system produces urine and sends it out of the body through the kidneys, ureters, bladder, and urethra. You can find a table of specific organs and structures and the systems to which they belong on the Evolve site for Chapter 2 in the Resources section. In a separate section of this book, you will find useful information about each body system with diagrams, terminology, pathology, laboratory tests, and diagnostic and treatment procedures. At the end of the book, you will find more helpful information, and additional resources in the book include Appendix 1, which is Body Systems, Appendix 2, Immunity and Vaccines, Appendix 3, At the Clinic, Appendix 4, Diagnostic Tests and Procedures, Appendix 5, Abbreviations, Acronyms, Symbols, Eponyms, and Plurals, Appendix 6, Quick Drug Reference, Appendix 7, Medical Terminology Tables, and then you have your mini dictionary and your glossary of word parts. Next, we have our body cavity, and this is shown on figure 2.2. Figure 2.2 shows the 5 body cavities. A body cavity is a space that contains organs. Label the figure in the spaces provided as you read the following paragraphs. So number 1, which on figure 2.2 is in the upper right-hand corner, we have the cranial cavity. This is located in the head and surrounded by the skull. Remember that cranio means skull. The cranial cavity contains the brain and other organs, such as the pituitary gland, which is an endocrine gland located below the brain. Then number 2, on the left-hand side of the figure, underneath the breastbone, under the breastbone caption, we have the thoracic cavity. This is also known as the chest cavity. Remember that thoraco means chest. This is surrounded by the breastbone and ribs. The lungs, heart, windpipe or trachea, and bronchial tubes leading from the trachea to the lungs and other organs are in this cavity. Down at the bottom of page 51, we have figure 2.3, which shows the frontal view of the thoracic cavity. The lungs are each surrounded by a double membrane known as the pleura. The space between the pleural membranes is the pleural cavity. The large area between the lungs, which is shown in yellow in figure 2.3, is the mediastinum. The heart, esophagus, which is your food tube, trachea, and bronchial tubes are organs within the mediastinum. Back to figure 2.2, number 3, which we have listed under the diaphragm caption, is the space below the thoracic cavity. The diaphragm is the muscle that separates the abdomen and thoracic cavities. Organs in the abdomen include the stomach, liver, gallbladder, and both the small and large intestines. The organs in the abdomen are covered by a double membrane called the peritoneum. And this is shown in figure 2.4. The peritoneum shows a side view of the peritoneum. It's a double membrane, double membrane surrounding the organs in the abdomen, including the liver, stomach, and small and large intestines. The peritoneal cavity is the space between the peritoneal membranes. The retroperitoneal area is behind the peritoneum, and the kidneys are in the retroperitoneal cavity. The peritoneum attaches the abdominal organs to the abdominal muscles and surrounds each organ to hold it in place. Our side note at the bottom of page 52 talks about double membranes. You can visualize the way organs are surrounded by a double membrane by imagining your fist pushing deep into a soft balloon. The balloon is then in two layers folded over your fist, just the way the pleura surrounds the lungs and the peritoneum surrounds the abdominal organs. Double wrapping around organs provides protection and cushioning, as well as a site for attachment to muscles. In the event of inflammation or disease of organs or membranes, fluid may collect in the space between the membranes surrounding the organs. This collection of fluid in the pleural cavity surrounding the lungs is called a pleural effusion. A collection of fluid in the peritoneal cavity surrounding the abdominal organs is called ascites. Okay, so back to figure 2.2, we have number 4, which on figure 2.2 is shown right below the abdominal cavity. And this is going to be our pelvic cavity. The pelvic cavity is surrounded by the pelvis, the bones of the hip. The major organs located within the pelvic cavity are the urinary bladder, ureters, tubes from the kidneys to the bladder, urethra, tube from the bladder to the outside of the body, rectum and anus, and the uterus, which is the muscular organ that nourishes the developing embryo and fetus in females. And then finally, we have number 5, which is shown on the right-hand side of figure 2.2 above the caption for spinal column. And this is our spinal cavity. This is the space surrounded by the spinal column or backbones. The spinal cord is the nervous tissue within the spinal cavity. Nerves enter and leave the spinal cord and carry messages to and from all parts of the body. So now on page 53, we have a little quick review of our different body cavities. Number 1, the membrane surrounding the lungs. This is the mediastinum. Number 2, the space between the lungs containing the heart. This is known as the pleura. Number 3, bones of the hip is the pelvis. 4, the space containing the liver, gallbladder, and stomach, also called the abdomen, is the abdominal cavity. Number 5, the space within the spinal column or backbones containing the spinal cord. This is our spinal cavity. Number 6, membrane surrounding the organs in the abdomen. This is the peritoneum. Number 7, the space within the skull containing the brain is the cranial cavity. Number 8, space below the abdominal cavity containing the urinary bladder. This is known as the pelvic cavity. Number 9, the muscle between the thoracic and abdominal cavities is the diaphragm. And then lastly, number 10, entire chest cavity containing the lungs, heart, trachea, esophagus, and bronchial tubes is the thoracic cavity. All right, starting on page 54, we have divisions of the back. The spinal column is a long row of bones from the neck to the tailbone. Each bone in the spinal column is called a vertebra, or backbone. Two or more bones are called vertebrae. A piece of flexible connective tissue called a disc lies between each backbone. The disc, composed of cartilage, is a cushion between the bones. If the disc slips or moves out of its place, it can press on the nerves that enter or leave the spinal cord, causing pain. And Figure 2.5 at the bottom of page 54 shows a side view of vertebra and discs. The divisions of the spinal column are pictured on page 55 in Figure 2.6, and you want to label them according to the following lists. So number 1 includes 7 bones, and its abbreviation is C1 through C7. So again, you're going to label these at the top of page 55 in Figure 2.6. You can see the vertebrae are labeled starting from the top, C1. You're going to go down to C7, so that's number 1 there. And this is the cervical or neck region. Then moving down to the second section, we have T1 through T12. So this is 12 bones. And this is the thoracic or chest region. Then the third division of the back is L1 through L5. So that's 5 bones. And this is the lumbar or loin or waist region. And then we have division number 4, which is S1 through S5. This is 5 fused bones, and this is the sacrum or lower back region. And then lastly, division 5 is 4 fused bones, and this is known as the coccygeal region. This includes the coccyx or tailbone. All right, so number 1, surgical, 2, thoracic, 3, lumbar, 4, sacral, and 5, coccygeal. And also, picture B in Figure 2.6 shows an MRI image of the spinal column. And you can see between bones L4 and L5, it's showing the picture of a herniated disc. So it slipped out of place. And if anyone has ever experienced a herniated disc, you know it is very, very painful. All right, next on page 56, we have planes of the body. A plane is an imaginary flat surface. Organs appear in different relationships to one another according to the plane of the body in which they are viewed. Down in Figure 2.7, it shows 3 planes of the body. You want to label them as we read the following descriptions. So number 1, which is showing that green plane. So imagine the body being cut in this way with that plane going down the body. So it's kind of like going down the center of both shoulders, down the whole entire body. So this is the frontal or coronal plane. This is a vertical plane that divides the body or body part, such as an organ, into front and back portions. Anatomically, anterior means the front portion and posterior means the back portion. Then the second plane, which is shown in blue in figure 2.7, is the sagittal or lateral plane. And this is a vertical plane that divides the body or organ into right and left sides. The mid-sagittal plane divides the body vertically into right and left halves. And then number 3, which is shown, we'll say that's like a reddish color, is the transverse or axial plane. This is a horizontal plane that divides the body or organ into upper and lower portions, as in a cross section. Think of cutting a loaf of French bread into circular sections. Knowing the planes of the body is helpful in looking at imaging studies such as X-ray films and CT scans. So down in figure 2.8, we have 3 different images. We have A, B, and C. So these are X-ray views of the chest. So A shows the frontal coronal plane. This radiographic image is an anterior-posterior view of the chest. And then B is the sagittal lateral plane. This is a lateral side view of the chest. And then C is the transverse axial plane. This computed tomography image is a snapshot of structures at a specific level of the body. MRI, or magnetic resonance imaging, is another technique for producing images of the body. With MRI, magnetic waves instead of X-rays are used to create the images, which show organs and other structures in specialized detail and in all 3 planes of the body. So figure 2.9 shows some MRI images. These are basic views of frontal, transverse, and sagittal. So picture A shows the frontal or coronal plane of the head. B shows the transverse axial plane of the head. And then C shows the sagittal lateral plane, showing the head and side of the brain. So A is the frontal view, B is the view from up top, like above the head, and then C is the side view. And then in figure 210A, we have a patient undergoing an MRI. Magnetic field changes are picked up by the surrounding machine and processed by a computer to create images. For this examination, the patient must lie very still and have no metal objects on or within the body. And then picture B shows an open MRI. Open MRI machines have a large space to accommodate patients who may experience discomfort or anxiety, claustrophobia in traditional MRI machines. This design has 2 flat magnets on the top and bottom areas.